So I'm going to start working on this big rollback record truck I got here. So you can see right here, this door has a new hinge pin in there and new bushings. And this one too. Now these hinge pin assemblies here, they're not adjustable like on some cars and things you might have worked on before. They're welded on there and there's no adjustment to the door. And when the door starts to sag, you have to replace these pins and bushings. Or you can just let it continue to sag and smash up all of the locking mechanisms. Someone's replaced this thing. They got some weld on it right here. This looks like some paint. They got painted right over some grease or something that was on here. I've removed the locking mechanism because that door sagging down continually bashes into that latch all the time and just smashes the crap out of it. But now that door lines right up perfectly and just need the hinge pins installed correctly there. I don't know if you can see right there, this door was sagging down so bad they just kept smashing it shut and actually dug a hole in the side of the cab there with the corner of the door. So I've removed the whole handle assembly and latch assembly here. And that really isn't too hard. You got to get this door panel off, and then you got to unbolt this metal panel here, and with the window all the way down, the tracks are at the bottom, and you can just roll this out of the track at the bottom. This whole window scissor assembly comes out. Now here's the other side. It's not as bad, but you can see it doesn't line up. And you can see here where this has been smashed on this latch so hard, it's bent this metal all out and curled it all up. And so that'll have to come apart. And here's this passenger side. I actually found the washer that's supposed to be on the driver's side. I'll be able to reinstall that properly. Now the first thing to get at is that spring right there. You got to have that spring so that the door stays open and the little notches there as it goes open. And they make a little tool for compressing that spring. I don't have that tool. I just used a couple pry bars and a 2x4 to put the pry bars against, and I got that in there. I'll do a better job on the next door. But I lost one of them. I'll have to go down to the junkyard and get one. And then we'll be able to take a look. And what we'll see is that this Chevy door is the same on all of these Chevy, like CK, Chevy 1500. You know, they all have the same door, the same hinge pins, the same setup, and the same way about replacing those hinge pins. Yeah, you can tell I've also ripped the interior out of this thing. Being a work truck, it gets lots of abuse. And you know, you go out on a crash scene, you got to lay out in the rain in some greasy, dirty, broken up car, and you drag it up on this bed right here, and you climb your greasy, sweaty, stinky self into this cab right here and trash out the interior. I got myself a replacement seat from the junkyard. I'll be able to clean that one up. It's not ripped or torn, and it's not all crushed. The driver's side edge gets all ripped and shredded on these tall trucks because you slide down out of the door all the time and it just rips this all up. So this one's intact, and I'll be able to clean that. It'll be like good as new. And here on my shelf here is most of the interior parts that I've taken out. I found some replacement plastic at the junkyard that I'm going to be using. And also the dashboard was all loose and rattly, and I'll be able to bolt that all up tight so it's a nicer ride, more comfortable. Well, you see here I have all of these pieces of the dashboard and stuff and all these crappy grimy things. Be able to replace those for, you know, 20 bucks. I'll replace the whole interior. One thing I'm going to buy new though is a sound deadening mat that goes on here. The old one was made of natural fibers, absorbed moisture and grease, and was all nasty and stinky. It's all filthy, dirty, of course, but I'll clean all this out. I'll put some new sound deadening stuff, some stuff that's made out of a plastic material that won't rot, and put the rubber mats back down and put the seat in there. Put some coverings on here and make the interior nice and clean. Maybe a new steering wheel. This one's all slimed out too. And so I have a milk crate in here, and I stuck the steering wheel back on there. I had to repair this turn signal. None of that stuff worked, so I fixed that. But I stuck the steering wheel back on there just so I could drive it around the yard. I sit on that milk crate while I start it up and drive it. And I got my boat stored up for the winter, but it's a warm day here in the fall, so I'm going to get a shot at working on these hinge pins a little bit today. Oh, and by the way, a complete set of 4 hinge pins with all the bushings and things you need, I got on eBay for 14 bucks. So here I've got just a sawhorse with some wood to hold up the door for me. If you have someone to help you, it's much easier. You don't have to take all this door paneling off everything just to replace the hinges either. And as I get started on this side, I'm just going to move this clip on the top with the screwdriver, and I'm going to drive the pin out, and I'm going to just drop a bolt in there temporarily to hold the door on. So I got this pin out. This clip did not want to let go there. I ended up having to split it, but the pin came out easy enough. Now I can drop a bolt in here just to hold the door from falling. Alright, I had to get a smaller bolt. That one was too long. There we go. And I want it to be, so I dropped that in there. I want it to be kind of loose in there because I'm going to need to tilt the door. So now I'm going to take the bottom pin out. Now I'm just able to put another 2x4 under here and kind of tilt the door out to separate this hinge a little bit, because now I'm going to use a punch and I'm going to drive out the pieces of mashed up bushing that are in those holes right there. Now I'm going to tilt the door the other way and do the same thing on the top. So you can see on this one, the top of the bushing is completely gone. Right, so there's no space, there's no bushing lip between the 2 hinge parts here. It's on the top hinge, and then on this one here I'll have to drive downward. And just as an example, this is the piece of bushing from the driver's side. It had no top piece either. Alright, so we're going to take a look at some of the parts here. You can see here that the pins are wider on one end. So there's a bushing with a wider inside diameter that has to go on that end, and a bushing with a narrower inside diameter that goes on that end. And the kit comes with new clips. I had to get a stand that was a little bit lower so I could swing this door down a little bit further, because I've got to tap this one up from the bottom, and this is in the way. Alright, did I say that correct? This pin goes up this way, so the fat end is on the bottom. The bushing with the larger inside diameter is going to go, it has to go in this way, so that this lip of the bushing is between these 2 hinge plates. Between these 2 hinge plates. This one at the top goes down this way. It has the smaller diameter because this pin is going up like this. And the lip of this bushing is going to be between these 2 hinge plates. Okay, now those bushings are in. I'm going to tilt the door up, drop a bolt in that hinge right there, and then replace the bushings on the bottom. Okay, in case I didn't make it clear, the bushings on the lower hinge go on the door. The bushings on the upper hinge are in the hinge that's attached to the cab. This is in the half that's attached to the door. The wider diameter one at the top, the smaller diameter one at the bottom. That top one's going to go in like that, so that the lip is in between those flanges, and this bottom one's going to go like, this bottom's going to go in like this, so that the lip will be between the flanges. So to get these in here, I just kind of set them in place, and I use this pair of pliers to start them, press them into place, just tap them down with the rest of it with the hammer. And so I'm ready to swing this door back into place and put the pins in. You want to make sure you get this thing this detent lever swung back into position before you drive the pins in. It'll just be out here and you'll have to take it apart to put it right. So that's it. I propped the door back up level so I can manipulate it around real easy. And I put this pin in. And I take a hammer and tap it in just that last 1/4 of an inch. Then I put this pin in. You know, I had to swing the door right open to get this, make sure this detent thing is back in place here. Now I can just fit the little clips on in the groove right there. These little clips that came with the kit. So it only took me about 45 minutes to replace the hinges on each door. 45 on this door, 45 on that door. But it's going to take me a lot longer than that, and that costs $14. It's going to take me a lot longer than that to replace this latch, fix this handle, fix this damage where the door was all slammed up. It doesn't make any sense to me.